Good morning, everyone. I'm Reverend Karen Russo. I'm like a minister emeritus or a big sister minister or a she still looks good but an old friend minister. Yeah. Here at the New Vision Center, and I'm so glad to be here and just so honoring Reverend Karen and Reverend Leslie, who like to have me come and make some holiday mischief every now and then. So today our topic is peace is a paradox. Peace is a paradox. And think about it. If it's noisy, like you and I, sometimes if it's noisy, we want to have some peace and quiet. And if we're upset, anxious, there's a longing for peace of mind. And if the nations are at war and the climate is challenged and there's struggles on the planet, we want peace on earth. So those are natural desires. The desire for peace as a solution to problems is a very natural thing for us to experience. And yet, if we think of peace as being a refuge from circumstance, an escape from conditions, a solution to a problem, it will not be sustainable. And that's because the human condition is nothing but problems and conditions and circumstances. Or maybe it's just my human condition, Yeah, it's just human condition, problems and circumstances, and what our challenge is to do, and I loved that reading from Dr. Ernest Holmes, is to find the peace of God. Let me sit with that in the midst of my circumstances so that I will make my own sunshine. And that's what we're up to today. So we're gonna look at this in three ways. We'll work with peace as a presence rather than the absence of challenges. And then what's emerged is this conversation about what is power. And I want to talk a little bit about how compassion, which is the love of the divine expressed in us, is ultimately our source of power. And then because it is the Holy Day season, and we are so well appointed for the Holy Days, I thought I would talk a little bit about the light of the divine being the truth of who we are. So that's where we're headed. And Ernest Holmes says, the infinite is always at peace because there is nothing to disturb it. And I thought that was another invocation for us, right? It's like, let us try to be that place of being unbotherable and yet present to what is. So we're going to begin with presence. And our inspiration, the book of the month, is Thich Nhat Hanh's Peace is Every Breath. And so we have a picture of Thich Nhat Hanh, 93 years young. He is a Vietnamese Buddhist monk. Many of you will be familiar with his work. He was very active in looking for peace in Vietnam, active in the civil rights movement here in America, very active in interfaith dialogues. And that Peace is Every Step book. Sue, who was here for the first message of the month, she said it's like reading poetry. And that really is what it's like. And his practice, the Buddhist practice, is mindfulness, which to us is a beautiful way to really enter into our science of mind teaching. Has two principles, right? Love, which is the oneness, which is our connectedness with everything, and then law, which is that consciousness creates experience. Mindfulness, at its essence, is love. Mindfulness is, let me be in present moment where everything is available. All of the love, all of the wisdom, eternal, infinite, powerful. So we're going to practice some mindfulness, and we're going to see how it connects to peace. So some of you who've read the book know that his practice is a breathing practice where we breathe in and out, and there's some phrases that go with it. So are you willing to do a little bit of that with me? Yeah. And for the folks that are new, this will only feel good, and you also, whenever we ask you to do things here, it's like pass and no thank you is always okay. Yeah, so there's going to be some smiling in this. You don't have to, but we invite you to. So we breathe in through the nose, breathing in. He says, breathe in, I calm my body. Breathe out, I smile. Breathing in, dwelling in the present moment. Out, I know this is a wonderful moment. So let's do that together. In, I calm my body. Out, I smile. In, dwelling in the present moment. Out, I know this is a wonderful moment. Go ahead and continue. In, calm, out, smile. In, present, out, wonderful. And we'll continue with that practice, in and out. And I'd like you to continue calling to your mind consciously something that is pleasing and inspiring to you. So it could be the face of the children when they come in after service. It could be our beautiful desert sunrises and sunsets, but something that is pleasing and inspiring. Let's breathe in, calm, out, smile, in, present, out, wonderful. So it feels good, yes? We keep going. It feels good to have a pleasing and pleasant thing to feel peaceful and inspired with. But let's stretch ourselves. So imagine something that is annoying. So even if you are a deep practicer of the science of mind, you travel a lot and people seem to stand in the aisleway and not get out of the way when people are loading the plane, you might feel annoyed. Maybe it's just me, but you might feel annoyed. So find something in your life, let it be factual that you feel annoyed, and see if you can do the practice. We breathe in, calm the body, and out. Smile. We breathe in, dwell in the moment, and out. It's a wonderful moment. So see if you can just feel that with something that is annoying or frustrating. And now let's take it up a notch. Let's breathe in and really face something that truly troubles us. So impeachments, struggle, climate, war, injustice, racism, poverty. Get real. It could be a personal health challenge, family, pain. Don't be shy or minimize. If something is troubling you or something that's a deep desire for a change on the planet, let it come to mind and let's breathe in. Calm the body. Breathe out. Smile. Find the place of you that can smile, that you're willing to have a practice in the midst of this. Breathe in. Dwell in this present moment where we have a community coming together to be in a sense of oneness and love for all situations. And breathe out to feel the wonderful that our practice can make a difference. One more time. Breathe in. Calm. Out. Smile. In. Present. Out. Wonderful. Let's shake off all stories and things in our mind, and a final in, out, present, wonderful. Okay, you can open eyes and kind of give a nod to your neighbor like, you did that, all right, we did it, we all did that. So it could be uncomfortable to say, I'm going to be peaceful in the midst of something that's real and challenging. And could you feel that you have the capacity for peace? Let me get some nods and some yeses here. Yes? You could feel being able to have the capacity for peace in the midst of the things that might make us happy or make us sad. But the truth is, there's something in us that is greater than the circumstances that come and go. So this practice, this mindfulness matters. This presence is what creates a capacity for peace. And I know that for many folks, whether it's personal, collective, or humanity, there are things that challenge us where us being more peaceful is quite powerful. And because we are all connected, it's not better to be more involved in something that's larger than something that's smaller or more individual. Because we are all connected, it matters where your place of practice is. So as we move to this idea of compassion, I'm going to actually read a couple of paragraphs from Thich Nhat Hanh, because he was not casual about taking mindfulness out into the world. So he says, many people are aware of the world's suffering. Their hearts are filled with compassion. They know what needs to be done, and they engage in political, social, and environmental work to change things. But after a period of intense involvement, they may become discouraged if they lack the strength needed to sustain a life of action. Real strength is not in power, money, or weapons, but in deep inner peace. Practicing mindfulness in each moment of our daily lives, we can cultivate our own peace. With clarity, determination, and patience, the fruits of meditation, we can sustain a life of action and be real instruments of peace. I have seen this peace in people of various religious and cultural backgrounds who spend their time and energy protecting the weak, struggling for social justice, lessening the disparity between rich and poor, stopping the arms race, fighting against discrimination, and watering the trees of love and understanding throughout the world. Watering the trees of love and understanding throughout the world. Our practice of peace makes a difference. So let's go a little deeper into this idea that, like, when we are at peace, we are in a stance of compassion and the power that that creates. So I loved Reverend Leslie had a message last week about the celebration of each other and moving away from the attack of offense or the armoring of defense. And really, to be in compassion is the ultimate celebration of another. So compassion is the divine love expressed through us very specifically about a situation. So if a person who travels a lot is on an airplane and there are people walking down the aisle who feel that for some reason that I cannot determine, that the person cannot determine, need to fuffer around and stand in the aisle, preventing others from boarding the plane, compassion is finding a place in me that first of all calms down and that realizes if I'm triggered, it's because I'm fearful or afraid or I think it should be a right way or it's like something in me has been triggered. The second place of compassion is, oh, sweetheart, we are all one. You have been that unconscious person chatting on a phone call in the way of others many a time. This is the karmic nature of life. As we are to life, life is to us. And then finally, let me realize that I never know the true situation of another. So maybe that's a person who's flying for a family funeral. Or maybe that's a person who has a challenge and lifting their bag is something that's really challenging them. Let me find a place where I don't know that they should be doing it my way. Yeah. So maybe it's not just me who travels and has a little, okay. So your holiday travels are going to be like, calm, smile, calm, smile. Yeah. Compassion is seeing with God's love in every moment, celebrating the divine in each other. It doesn't mean agreement. So it's really interesting. Acceptance and love does not mean agreement with a circumstance. And yet, I know I'm really being called to take my practice out into a world where I want to see changes. And in order to do that, I must come from a place of love and oneness, or else I will be fighting against things I don't like, which ultimately leads to more of a fighting. So I brought an image I wanted us to see of like the I am powerful. So when we are in a place of compassion, we access an infinite power to create change, to create growth, to stand for what's emerging. And that's because the other main principle of the science of mind is change your consciousness, change your life experience. Our consciousness is creative. That is our ultimate power. And for those that are new, the science of mind is a 150-year-old teaching that includes philosophic ideas, how does life get to be the way it is, inspirations from the world's religious tradition. So the idea of oneness, the idea it is done unto you as you believe, thou art that, the idea that consciousness creates, and also the ideas of metaphysical type science where everything is created in the invisible into the visible. When we believe and act that our consciousness is powerful, we have the capacity to feel peace and be peace and also be about the changes that we desire. So this is the place of power for ourselves individually and for the world. So I invite you to kind of think back to whatever came to your mind when you had to breathe through it in order to, be calm and be in the present moment. Your power in that situation is to be present and be peace, and then to be about the intention of bringing more of the divine into that situation. That's what this week I'm going to be praying for justice, praying for right action, praying for peace and courage and well-being, and that beautiful place of there is a highest and best for all. It is natural in the divine for something to be greater than the you and me, yes and no, vote this way, vote that way. So that's what I'm going to be called to pray for. And I feel really sure that that is the best thing I can do before I do all of the other things that you'll see me on Facebook posting from here and there, doing this and doing that. It's start with consciousness. So do you agree that you are powerful? Yes, you are. And then the piece about the smile is when people come together and practice together, we realize our power, and then we create something that's magical. And one of the things that's beautiful about this community, and Reverend Karen spoke about it, is a 30-year history that includes the ups and downs of human condition and, do we stay in this campus? Do we move to this place? How does it get financed? That all of that has come through a trajectory of let us be about the power of love revealed through who we are. So that leads us to our final piece today, which is the light and the truth. So Reverend Sue Witter, who did the first message of the month, she said, "You are the light." And the Holy Day season always brings this invitation to remember the light of who we are. And so you'll see the candles laid out. And one of the beautiful things about all of our spiritual services, the Wednesday evening Taizé services, the Thanksgiving Eve service on December 24th, there's the candle lighting service, is there's always this beautiful invitation to remember the light. So in this time, our calendar says the days are darker and the ancients yearn for the light. Let the solstice celebration, the celebration of the sun, Holly's given us a new inspiration. We make our own sunshine. I like that. We make our own light because we are our own light. So let that enliven you. And find your place in the Holy Day celebrations where you get awakened to the light of who you are. So I'm rereading in the Science of Mind textbook, Finding the Christ, which is a chapter about the Christ consciousness, the illumination of the divine. And I find that to be like right now, it's just calling to me this whole idea that the birth of the Christ is an idea that happens within each of us. And for others of you, it might be the sourcing in the Hanukkah story or other stories or rituals or things that call to the light. But I really invite you, and I know there'll be many different activities that happen here at the center, but find the place where you remember that you are the light and that it leads you to a place of peace, but it also leads you to a place of power, compassion, and action. So that's where we've been today. Peace is a presence. Paradoxically, it's not an absence of things that annoy you. That when we are in compassion, we ultimately find more of a sense of our power, and that truly the light of who we are, that's the truth of our being, and it is the how we are peace on earth. All right, thank you. Yes, yes. So we take this loving energy and we'll move into prayer. So I invite the practitioners of religious science and the ministers who are here to rise up and stand with me as we move into a spiritual mind treatment, our form of affirmative prayer. And for others in the community, if you're comfortable, you can close eyes, let that breath deepen you, and we pray. So how sweet it is to rise up in consciousness, to come to the awareness that there is one life, that life is God, that life is grace, truth, wholeness, power, and peace. We recognize that this one infinite presence has all of the information, energy, and organizing power required to reveal the truth of who we are. God is, and God is all there is. As me, Karen, as each and every beautiful being here connected to the New Vision Center, to our live streamers, to our brothers and sisters in communities and workplaces and neighborhoods and families and nations and the world, all beings express this infinite presence of God's light and love. And that is the foundation from which I speak this word. Our oneness and union in peace is the anchoring where I claim peace on earth, goodwill to all. I bless all religious traditions and people of faith who are in practice. We know there is one divine, many paths. We welcome and bless them all. I also claim that there is for our nation, for the United States, that there is a fresh, powerful revelation of peace that beyond our human attitudes is able to include all beings so that everyone feels valued, heard, understood, and included. And in that, something magical, miraculous, powerful, and inclusive reveals itself. I also claim that for every soul who is challenged, every child in pain, every person with any kind of challenge, relationship, job, career, expression, body, anything that's happening, we just blanket all of this in light, peace, and truth. What we recognize is that God heals, reveals as all. And I am so grateful for this. I am so grateful that this prayer is a blessing not only to each other, but a blessing to the world. We let go, we let God, we trust the law, we release it, it is done, and together we say,